If you are over the age of 65 and still driving the same way you have for years, 2026 may be the year you are fined, flagged, or even lose your license without realizing you violated a new rule. The most dangerous part is that many of these changes do not feel new at all. The roads look the same, the signs look familiar, the habits you have trusted for decades still feel safe. But underneath the surface, the system has changed quietly, automatically, and in some cases, permanently. Beginning in February 2026, multiple states across the United States are rolling out enforcement systems that no longer rely on warnings, officer discretion, or even direct police interaction. Cameras, algorithms, and insurance linked databases are now doing the monitoring. This means a driver can be careful, obey the speed limit most of the time, never use a phone behind the wheel, and still end up paying hundreds or thousands of dollars because of a single moment that is now treated as a violation. This is not about panic. It is about awareness. The drivers being hit hardest are not reckless or inexperienced. They are longtime drivers who assumed the rules had not changed. What makes 2026 different from previous years is not the creation of entirely new laws, but a fundamental shift in how existing laws are enforced. Rules that drivers believe they understand are now being interpreted more aggressively, enforced more precisely, and punished more expensively. For older drivers, the consequences extend beyond tickets. They affect insurance rates, license renewals, medical reviews, and identity verification. States are under increasing pressure to improve road safety, recover infrastructure funding, and reduce liability. Their response has been automation. Automated enforcement does not care how long you have been driving or how clean your record is. It does not issue warnings or explanations. It records the violation and forwards it, often directly to the DMV or your insurance provider. Once that happens, correcting the situation becomes far more complicated. Many drivers assume that if something were truly serious, they would be clearly warned in advance. In 2026, notification often comes after the damage is already done. A ticket arrives by mail. A license renewal is denied. An insurance bill quietly increases by 20 or 30%. For seniors living on fixed incomes, these are not minor inconveniences. They are serious financial shocks. Another major issue is that these changes are not uniform across the country. They vary by state and by county. A behavior that is legal where you live may trigger a citation the moment you cross a state line. Many drivers rely on experience and habit, but experience no longer protects you when enforcement is automated. The system does not care that you have driven safely for 40 years. It only cares about what was recorded at a specific moment. That is why so many drivers in early 2026 are saying the same thing. They did not know it was illegal. I am Sasha, and this is Uncut Updates. Over the past several weeks, I have reviewed official DMV updates, state transportation notices, insurance industry bulletins, and legislative rollouts to understand what is truly changing on U.S. roads in 2026 and how those changes affect everyday drivers, especially those aged 65 and older. My goal is not to overwhelm you with legal language or fear. It is to explain what the system is doing now in clear terms so you can protect your license, your finances, and your independence. In 2026, the biggest risk is not reckless driving. It is driving the way you always have while assuming the rules still work the same way. One of the fastest spreading changes involves distracted driving enforcement. For years, many states treated phone use as a secondary offense, meaning officers needed another reason to initiate a stop. That protection is disappearing. More states are now using primary enforcement, and even states with existing hands-free laws are enforcing them more aggressively. Holding a phone, touching a screen, or even having a visible screen glow can now justify a citation. Use is no longer limited to texting. Checking navigation, adjusting music, or interacting with a phone at a red light can all qualify. Being stopped at a light no longer counts as a break from driving. If you are in the driver's seat and in control of the vehicle, the law considers you actively driving. Penalties for distracted driving have increased significantly. First-time citations often range from $200 to $500 before fees. More importantly, insurance companies now classify distracted driving as a high-risk behavior. A single citation can increase premiums by 15 to 30% for several years. For older drivers who already face age-based risk adjustments, the financial impact is substantial. These violations are largely preventable, but they require a change in habits. In 2026, technical compliance matters more than intent. Another major shift involves automated speed enforcement. AI-powered speed cameras are expanding rapidly, particularly in construction zones and school zones. These systems measure speed precisely and issue citations without officer involvement. In construction zones, enforcement may activate when even a single worker is present, and signage may not appear different from inactive zones drivers have passed many times before. In school zones, enforcement is tied to schedules rather than visible activity. Speed limits may drop sharply during specific time windows, and exceeding them by even a small margin can trigger a citation. These tickets often arrive by mail days later, leaving drivers confused and frustrated. Alcohol enforcement is also changing. Several states are moving toward lower legal blood alcohol concentration limits, modeled after the approach already in place in Utah. At a level of 0.05, many drivers do not feel impaired, but the law may still treat them as legally intoxicated. For older adults, changes in metabolism and medication interactions increase the risk. Penalties remain severe and mirror traditional DUI consequences. The safest approach in 2026 is to avoid driving entirely if you consume alcohol at all. Electric vehicle owners are encountering new costs as well. Most states now impose annual EV road use fees to replace lost gas tax revenue. These fees often range from $100 to $250 and appear on registration renewals. Some states are also testing mileage-based road usage charges that tax distance driven rather than fuel consumed. These programs signal a broader shift toward monitoring driving behavior more closely for taxation purposes. In several states, expanded definitions of reckless driving now allow for immediate vehicle impoundment, even when no accident occurs. Actions once considered minor can now result in towing, storage fees, and long-term insurance consequences. These penalties can reach thousands of dollars quickly, and association with a questionable situation can be enough to trigger enforcement. License renewal procedures are also changing. While some states have raised the age for mandatory road testing, many have tightened vision requirements and in-person verification rules. In several states, seniors can no longer renew entirely online or by mail. Failure to appear in person when required can cause a license to expire completely, not temporarily. Reinstatement may require restarting the entire process. Digital licenses do not eliminate these requirements and, in some cases, make in-person verification more frequent. The reality of driving in 2026 is that a license is no longer a one-time achievement. It is a privilege that is constantly monitored, evaluated, and verified. Enforcement has become proactive rather than reactive, and automation has removed much of the discretion drivers once relied on. The drivers who fare best in this environment are the ones who adapt early. The most effective steps are simple. Review your state's DMV updates regularly. Read every renewal notice carefully. Make small habit changes that eliminate risk. Keep your phone out of your hands. Treat construction and school zones as absolute. Move over early for any vehicle displaying flashing or hazard lights. Talk with family members about these changes, especially seniors and new drivers. Awareness can prevent fines, protect insurance rates, and preserve independence. Driving laws are no longer static, and staying informed has become part of staying safe. Thank you for watching Uncut Updates. Drive carefully, stay aware, and protect what matters.